In his work, he loves exploring ideas of expectations, perspective, and the everyday weird. Lately, it's been all about people trying their hardest not to figure things out, himself very much included. With short stories and sometimes poetry, Rory wants to create pieces you'll not just reread, but reinterpret every time. Find more of his prose in works in 2021's issues of Scratch That Mag, QT Glass, and through his Instagram, Rory writes sometimes with underscores between the words. Also venturing into stage writing, check out parasocial.parallax on Instagram, an innovative production he helped co-write, running in May as part of Anywhere Festival. Give Rory and his non-fiction piece, Storied in Sleep, a hand.
Okay, so this is my non-fiction piece, memoir, Storied in Sleep. They were fairies, but with guns for arms. Waiting outside the Draven apartment, kicking around in cold and sleet, next to that old shipping container, I tried to explain to a classmate what I'd seen, first on TV screen, and then my nightmares. I said, they're small and thin, like Christmas elves, who wear khaki army helmets and raggedy old uniforms. Sometimes they have goggles instead of eyes, or gas masks for faces. I said instead and for because I couldn't imagine they'd ever take them off. Like wooden stock rifles that gnarled from flesh below each creature's left elbow, my 13-year-old mind had decided it was all grafted on. They'd encircle you in a smoky plaza, stand to attention and charge one after the other, catching your body with blades affixed to those rifled arms. My classmate smirked. You mean bayonets? I continued, yeah. So you start outside this, he interrupted, fairies with guns for arms. I bit my lip, said no more. You're not supposed to have that kind of reaction to a PS3 game your mom bought you. The only video game Mum's ever bought without me asking. And I didn't. I didn't know it existed until it was in my hands. Where had she bought it from? I never asked. She won't remember. It simply manifested in the fleeting week between Christmas and my birthday. Folklore. There exists a village where the living can speak to the dead. Two strangers will find themselves thrown into the wonders and dangers of the netherworld to discover its secrets. The first and only game I've put down, not out of boredom or laziness. In our home, we never watched horror or supernatural movies. No precaution, just not my parents' tastes. Still, they can tell stories of our semi-detached cottage after midnight, of lights flickering on and off, of doors opening and slamming, a shadow at their bedside. All of it. Me. But it was easy to tell that you weren't really there, Mum said. You'd have this glazed over look. I'd ask you questions. Are you cold, hungry? Would you like to go back to bed? You didn't know how to answer. You'd look straight through me. My sleepwalking turned like phases of the moon. Come morning, I'd have at most a pale impression fading in the light. This room looks different to when? Had I stood or sat just here yesterday? And the landing feels shorter than before. Before when? My body had its own déjà vu. It took my parents to recall what came from my mouth. I never remembered my own words. Last night you kept saying, I can't find my own tree, Mum told me. We tried asking you what that meant. No, you cried. No, you don't understand. I can't read if I can't find my own tree. Another time I had to know everyone's names. Backwards. It was crucial to their safety. Something very, very bad would happen if they didn't tell me. So my mum, our bed, sat me down on the sofa, and let me watch TV. Somehow I still remember when my dad, Nad Nerb, opened the front door, how I shivered as he stepped into tarmac for the year's first snowfall. But some nights, consciousness wanes. Some nights, you wouldn't know I was there until too late. You'd be standing in the kitchen, turn away and back in there, bare feet in tears on white cold tiles. I don't want to die. I don't want you to die. Why do I have to die? Why are you dying? Why am I dying? There was no waking me. Best to do was guide my body back to rest. We tried filming you once, when you weren't so upset, Mum said. So we'd have proof. Footage blurred in memory on an iPhone screen. It cut short when my body looked down the camera and keened its voice across the questions. Even sleepwalking, you somehow knew what we were doing. When we showed you in the morning, it was very confronting. We didn't mean it to be, but it disturbed you. And they never tried that again. But one night, I do recall in full how my eyes opened, how my feet stood beneath me. My hand clenched around the brass handle to my parents' room. I tried to place what was happening, what I was doing on that landing, about fairies with guns for arms in the back of my skull, standing to attention. I paced the carpet. The whole way from my room to my parents' was measured in years. I each doors open as I crept, so you could see something further, streetlight, moonlight. This way it didn't feel so long or narrow. I paced the carpet, and then I took myself back to bed. I whispered reasons why I needed to fall asleep, made the game without a screen that ended when my eyes closed. I finished Folklore, and enjoyed it. Those Christmas elf soldiers from the second level really aren't as bad as they look. Even the manual reads they'll act boldly when a lot of them are grouped together, but in reality, they're quite cowardly. And Japanese developers plucked sleepy Doolin village, death's doorstep indeed, from an Irish idyll. The pub after dark was heart and soul the liveliest, even patroned by the half-dead, folkish beings, and the dreamt-up characters of children made manifest. Mum doesn't know where these ideas have thrown me, to this rambling netherworld. But I did ask her what she thought about the sleepwalking. You'd only do it when you were under a lot of stress. My brow furrowed. From what? Like when you were being bullied, she said. No one wanted to call it that. No one wanted to believe. But what else could you call it? How Edward and Luke treated you? Remembering your childhood is a strange procession. Daylight shrouds, even as full moon. Stranger then, the kinds of stories our bodies know how to tell, and the kind we are told to remember. Thank you.